Welcome to another episode of Talk Tonic. Talk Tonic is a new segment on the Reputation Today YouTube channel where we speak to leaders in the space of communications, reputation management, public relations, design, and allied fields from around the world so that you, our viewers, learn something new from their insights. Our guest on this segment is Geo George, the founder of DesignsGeo. Geo is based in Dubai and does creative work and design work for clients around the world. Thank you, Geo, for joining us on this show, and we hope to learn from you in the next few minutes on various aspects of design and their role in reputation building.
Thank you, Amith, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's dive in and start right away by asking you, what is the purpose of design?
I think a lot of us still think that design is just about making things look pretty. It's about decoration. I believe design is about solving a problem. To do that, you have to keep the user in mind, the consumer in mind, how the solution fits in with his or her ecosystem. So it's about how you decide an objective and how you work towards object. That's the real purpose of design for me.
So let me tell you that people in PR spend a lot of time creating content, and sometimes they don't realize that packaging that content is very important as well. And I know design plays a big role in helping package content. Tell us more about the relationship that design and content have and how you and designers like you help in making this better.
Yeah, I think it's not just people in PR. A lot of us in advertising also believe that. We look at content sometimes as standalone and not as overall scheme of things from a brand point of view. I think that's where design comes, and that's where the design plays a role in terms of looking at a larger picture, looking at where the brand stands, what it says, how it says. And so then content becomes just another touch point, like the product is a touch point, the social media is a touch point, what the CEO has said is a touch point. So I think design helps look at it from that point of view and then create the content so that it stands true for the brand. It's authentic for the brand. It just makes sense for that brand to be doing that content, because otherwise it's easy to follow trends, do what other brands are doing, and there is no reasoning behind that. So design then helps to take a sort of a larger viewpoint and design and create and structure content accordingly.
Interesting. So, a lot of times we are stuck with creativity. We are stuck because we see an absence of inspiration. We sometimes lack the thought process that we need to be creative. So my question is on inspiration. What inspires designers? What inspires you to come out with good work? Just talk to us about what are the factors of inspiration that help you do good work?
I think random things inspire me. I mean, it could be just a walk in the park, or it could just be playing with my niece, or it could be having a good meal, or hanging out with friends. I think life in general inspires me. Other than that, I think it's books. It's about watching Netflix. It's about sort of consuming, I think, different forms of communication. But rather than go out look for inspiration, I think for creatives, for designers, just be open. I think sometimes sort of inspiration comes and finds you. So I think that's worked for me. So I think that's one of the ways that I get inspired.
And I'm sure a lot of us have role models because of whom we do the things we do, or we find them along the way. So do you have a role model? Who's that role model that inspires you to do great work?
I've been lucky to have really wonderful mentors, especially from my design course, my design professor. Also, when I started off in advertising, a lot of my seniors were mentors. So I think not to name out individual people, but in general, I think I've been very lucky to have worked with insanely talented people, and then it becomes easy to sort of look up to them and follow what they do and sort of want to be like them. So that is there. Also, I get inspired by little people. So my niece inspires me every day.
How old is she?
She's about 4 years old now. She turned 4 just a day before. So I think it's interesting because genuinely, if you're interested in people, and sort of you find inspiration, a little bit of inspiration in everyone. I think that sort of gives me a boost.
So you spoke about your role models, you spoke about inspiration, you spoke about your niece who inspires you, friends you hang out with inspires you. Creativity is a very abstract term. It means different things to different people. Different people define it in different ways. How do you define creativity? It will help our viewers understand creativity from a new lens. So tell us your definition of creativity.
I think it's always tough to sort of define creativity. But for me, I think it's approaching things from a non-traditional point of view, exploring the unknown, a lot of experimentation, sort of just keeping your mind open. I think that's my definition, that's my definition of creativity.
Helpful. Exploring, experiencing, understanding are things that people know, but sometimes we don't apply those when we get into a creative bent of mind, but that's helpful to know. You've done so much of work over the last 20 years, work that you may have liked, not liked, proud of, not proud of, but tell us about some of the work you are proud of that some of us may or may not be aware of that was done by you.
There are a couple of pieces that I've really been proud of being associated with. One of them, of course, is the Palladium branding, Palladium Mall in Bombay. Then a lot of campaigns that we did for the Economic Times. I think I was lucky to be present during those periods where we were really exploring a new direction for the brand. And also,
do you have some examples of those campaigns you want to talk of?
We were exploring a new look for the Economic Times at that time, and this was a diversion from the kind of direction they wanted to take. And so it was a very uncharted territory, but the approach and the strategy behind the design that we had suggested really resonated with them, and I think that's one of the best pieces that I am proud of personally from an advertising point of view. Also from a packaging point of view, the work that I did for Kathak Pafaki, they're a Qatar-based fast food chips manufacturing company. I think that was another very interesting project because they came to me with the problem of identity. They wanted to refresh their brand because they're an old brand, about 35 years. But the more we researched about it, we understood the logo or the identity isn't the problem. And so we went down a direction of refreshing the packaging, because especially with brands that are old, there's a lot of nostalgia associated with it. And so any change in the logo feels like it's not the same company anymore. But at the same time, repackaging it with new photographs and sort of, branding it in a new way, I think really sort of, pushed the brand in a better direction. So those are things that I'm really proud of, and I'm lucky that I was a part of that during those years.
No, thank you. I mean, this is helpful to know. People can look your work up online and see stuff. I'm sure your website. What is your website?
It's DesignsGeo.com. It's very simple.
We'll check it out when we want to and see the work you do there. Reputation is a big deal for the world, for businesses, for organizations. Tell us about what role does design play in the world of reputation?
I think that's again a very interesting space to be in, because it's one of the focus areas that you also sort of concentrate on. I think design comes in very early on in the reputation building business, or let's say brand reputation, because even before reputation you have to have an identity. So design then really sort of creates that identity. But design doesn't stop there, it goes along with the process. So be it your online presence, be it your working with the PR team and their processes. So it starts off early in the reputation building process, and it sort of goes along with it. So I think it's a very intertwined relationship that design and brand building have, or reputation building have.
Interesting. The whole world is talking about ChatGPT, AI, taking away jobs, getting into people's lives in more ways than one. Tell us about design and AI. Will AI affect design and designing in a big way? Do you fear that designing work will reduce towards human beings and it will be outsourced to AI tools in the future?
It's a very hot topic right now. How will machine learning and how will artificial intelligence sort of affect design, and will it replace designers? I think more than replacing designers, I think it's about how AI will transform design. More than being fearful of it, I think now is the time to have the courage to welcome it as a tool, because it's already transforming design in ways we haven't imagined. But answering your question of will it sort of make designers redundant or make creative, I think humans always have a unique point of view. because everyone has unique experiences. So those will always be valuable to an enterprise or an organization. But at the same time, knowing how to use AI, working with AI as a tool to help better design or better your communication, I think that's going to be essential. And focusing your skills in that aspect, I think that will be a better way to sort of go into the future for designers and for creatives.
So you're saying designers don't need to worry too much, but need to be still cautious and be mindful of the way technology is changing the way we work.
Exactly. I think they need to be open about AI in terms of how do you use AI in their design, in transforming the work they are already doing. And I think understanding the limitations, because the other aspect of AI is also moral concerns about it in terms of the ownership aspects of it. So it's still a new space for us to be in. There are a lot of undiscovered things about AI. So I think keeping an open mind, but at the same time not worrying about sort of losing your job, because you come with a unique skill set, you come with a unique point of view, and that is not going to be replaced, I think.
Got it. No, thank you. We spoke of your work, we spoke of your inspiration, role models. We didn't talk about how you started in design. Tell us about your career growth, career trajectory. What led you to the world of design? What led you to the world of creative arts, creativity, advertising? Tell us about that, so people who are younger viewers watching, people maybe in college, are inspired to maybe get a career in design going in the future.
Oh, that's a very interesting topic, because I don't think I went in finding design. I think it was the other way around. Design found me. So very early on, even before I knew what was advertising and design, I think I was attracted to the process. So while I was still in school, I was interning at a printing press, just because I was fascinated by the way how inks work, and how you put an ink at this end and sort of it prints a design at that end. I think that curiosity sort of really led me down this path. And then of course I was lucky enough to have been influenced by a lot of designing greats, advertising greats. I like the work they do, so I started following them, and sort of that took me down this path of studying about design, taking up a design course, having attended SIMC. So that then expanded my sort of definition of design. And then starting off with agencies in Bombay, I think Bombay becomes a place where you get a lot of exposure and extremely talented people. So just being around with them in the room, you sort of take in their vibes and improve on your work. So I started off at Bombay at TBWA, then I was at Ogilvy for a while, and then last I was at DDB. After DDB, I went down to Dubai to be with my parents, and that is a journey which wasn't really planned for me, because I went into a startup business. My dad was in a business, and sort of to help him around, take it off. It was a packaging business, not completely related to my field, and it was a big learning curve for me. But I think that helped me as a creator, because I believe while we are in advertising, especially creatives are shielded from the business side of things. So we don't really get around the finances and the people management and things like that. So learning about that, all of that was a great journey. And post that, I was missing design too much, so I decided to dive back into design in a deeper way. And right now that's what I do. I consult with agencies, I have independent clients, and I bring in solutions from a design point of view.
Fascinating. That's inspiring and interesting to know how your journey began. I've known you for a long while now, and I never knew this part of your background in design, but that's fascinating. We'll come to the end of this conversation we are having. My last question to you is, as a person who has spent close to 2 decades in design, creativity, and the spaces that we keep talking of, what do you see is the future of design? How do you see design evolving in the future?
Oh, wonderful. I wish I could predict the future, but no, I think I believe creativity is future-proof, and so is design, so to say. I think AI will be playing a very important role in the future. Again, like we were discussing, how do you work with AI? How do you welcome it as a tool? There are a couple of spaces that I think are going to really be interesting in the future from a design point of view. That is sound design. It's really expanding. I think that's a very interesting field to be in. Also about data visualization. I think even at a present age, we are faced with a lot of data. There's a lot of data coming in. So how do you represent that? How do you sort of present that? I think that's going to be, again, a very interesting, fascinating field to be in for a designer. Overall, I think I'm very hopeful of the future from a design point of view, and I hope that designers continue to be empowered, to enforce values of empathy and purpose and curiosity. I think it looks bright from my point of view.
That's always encouraging, that's always helpful to know, and I'm sure there is immense scope, and the entire world is there for people to capture from a business point of view, from design point of view, and I'm sure that will not change over the years, but good to get your perspective as well. Thank you so much for your time, Geo. It was a fascinating conversation with you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you viewers learned new aspects of design from someone who is a very low profile, quiet person, but has done some amazing work over the years, and we thought we should bring somebody with this background to this conversation to help PR professionals, corporate communication professionals, realize the importance of design and how it plays a role in reputation building, reputation enhancement, and reputation protection. Thank you. I hope you share this video link with your friends, family, well-wishers and others so they learn aspects of design and its role in reputation building. Hope to have you come back to our next episode in the near future. Thank you.